We are now just under a month away from the release of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered, reviving a GameCube classic that many could have expected would stay locked to that console for all time. Instead, Square Enix have remastered this intriguing action RPG spin-off, and it will be coming to the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, iOS and Android on the 27th of August. Unfortunately, we've not been able to go hands-on with the game because of some all too familiar and predictable reasons, but Square Enix have been able to supply us with some B-roll to cut up into a video and share with you all. So what is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles? Well, we have to go back to the late 90s and early 2000s to find out. Square had recently just jumped to the Sony PlayStation for Final Fantasy VII and enjoyed huge success with the games on that system, and so that meant that heading into the early 2000s, Final Fantasy was not about to head back to a Nintendo system in a hurry, but there was space for a spin-off, and more importantly, some experimentation. In fact, Crystal Chronicles was one of those wildly experimental games designed to use some of the very specific tricks that most developers simply wouldn't have bothered with outside of Nintendo. The game is designed as a co-op action RPG, but with a unique narrative twist to keep players stuck together in the fields of battle. The world is poisonous to its inhabitants, with a miasma that will kill anyone that ventures out of the spheres of safety generated by the fragments of the Great Crystal. To keep the town safe, these crystals need to be topped up with myrrh, and that is where your adventuring caravan comes in. There is a need to stay near to crystal fragments, and it's this that keeps players together in the game world. Sure, we've seen plenty of co-op games which have got similar setups designed to stop players getting separated, and probably also designed to stop consoles from having to split their processing power on generating two different views of the world. But none have really made this a big part of the story. In single player, you control your character in a hack-and-slash action RPG, with a Moogle that carries the protective vessel around and follows you through the world, giving you plenty of freedom to head in any which way that you want to. However, in multiplayer with up to 4 players, it's then up to you to figure out who is going to carry and move the vessel around, forcing you to manage the bubble of safety that you can generate. That doesn't sound so awkward for co-op, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, but on GameCube you could only play multiplayer by linking up a Game Boy Advanced system for each player. Complete shenanigans for people just wanting a good old 4-player action RPG at a time, and making this especially expensive for people to get into. But it did allow for some unique tricks like moving your player character's information to a personal screen and allowing you to visit and interact with shops independently. Now, there is a similar kind of requirement for this remaster, but thankfully you won't need everyone to have a direct link cable to a single console. Instead, Square Enix have gone in the complete opposite direction. Alongside the main game's release will be a light edition of the game. This is effectively a demo, giving you the first few dungeons to play through and letting you do so in both single player and online multiplayer. That's pretty generous in its own right, but the light version also lets you join people with the main game and play through almost the entire adventure. There's 13 of the original 14 dungeons for you to play through if you join someone with the main game, which is simultaneously incredibly generous again, and a little bit cheeky from Square Enix to hold that finale away from you. Through the rest of the game, there's then just dozens of other modern niceties. There's new voiceovers, there's a new mimic system, a set of post-game high-level dungeons for you to play through once you've beaten that main campaign, there's new weapons, armor, recipes, and on and on and on. It really feels like every part of the game has been looked at and tweaked, which would go some way to explaining why this remaster has been delayed so often. But thankfully, that is coming to an end. That is all that we have for this video, but by this time next month, we will be able to revisit this GameCube classic on some current-gen consoles and smartphones. Thanks as ever for checking out our video. Make sure to click like, subscribe, share, and even that bell icon. Hopefully, we will see you again soon. Goodbye!